Okay. I don't know who's going to show up here, but I figured let me go live on this channel, see what's going on. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. So streaming now. So let me pause that. I don't know who's going to, show up in the chat, but if anyone does, then very good. Let me just do something real quick. Just following. Wise. Quick. 1 second here. One second if anyone's showed up. Let me just look at something real quick. Wise. Okay. Let's click into that real quick. Okay. All right. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if anyone show up, but you'll have it on replay. I thought, well, I haven't gone live for a while. There's a lot of stuff going on. Only on this channel will I go live. I don't go live on the Jacob Clare channel. They don't deserve that from me. They definitely don't. They should be happy they get what's in the news and let's say this much. So there's a lot of stuff going on before I get into the news here. Into the into the tabs, all the news articles. So you have New York, right? The New York State Supreme Court ruled against the vaping industry, and so they're able to have their ban. They were supposed to have they had some kind of get together with the public health department, but I'm sure that did not go over very well. The point is the New York State Supreme Court went against the vaping industry. And then you got Michigan on two fronts. You have it in a state court and you also have it in a federal court, and both judges decided to deny the vaping industry or the vape shops a temporary restraining order, which that would immediately go into effect if that was granted. But the courts, the federal court and the state court, denied the vape shops that temporary restraining order. Now, they have a preliminary injunction that's court date is set for October 8th of 2019. And what that could happen is, let me back up just a little bit so you understand the process. On a temporary restraining order, if the court ordered that, that would be it, and the state could not do anything about it. The state couldn't even respond to it. But what happened was, because of the preliminary injunction, what the vape shop / industry is asking for Michigan, that is for the court to put a order in place in order to make sure that ban does not the ban is lifted, or the ban is does not remain in place after October 8th, 2019. The key to that is it gives the state of Michigan, time to respond. They have up to 14 days to respond to the complaint or / the preliminary injunction. So that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting on for the state to respond. And then the court will hear the case. Okay, so there's a ban right now in Michigan as of Wednesday. That is October 2nd, 2019. But on October 8th of 2019, it could be lifted, Probably not, but could be. And then you got Massachusetts, the vape shops and slash the industry is also suing them, and that right now has just been recently filed. So it'll take a little time for that to go through the process. Rhode Island right now is sort of on hold, so we'll see what happens with Rhode Island. LA County in California, they banned flavored e-liquid. And there's many others. Even Ohio, the governor, Inslee, he's unsure if he has the power to have an emergency rule on that. So therefore, it's up in the air. And so he's prompting the legislature to pick that up, which can take time. Meanwhile, we had the Food and Drug Administration. Now, nobody has talked about this, but I will. Back on September 4th of 2019, United States President Donald John Trump, let me back up a little bit on that too. According to federal law, okay, they have to put in place by November 1st, 2019, a non-acting FDA commissioner, or they have to have at least someone selected by November 1st, 2019, to be confirmed by the Senate, a nominee confirmed by the Senate to become the next FDA commissioner. Now, as far as the health groups and many others that's similar to health groups around the United States territories, they are very much behind the acting FDA commissioner, Ned Sharpless. Okay, but on September 4th of 2019, they had a few contenders, really only 2 contenders, as well as Sharpless, that had popped up on the screen, so to speak, on the radar. And one of the guys' name is Dr. Stephen Hahn, Hahn, and he's supposed to be a top contender for the FDA commissioner post. Now, if you were watching some of the videos on Jacob Clair channel, I put the House Committee video up in regards to Ned Sharpless giving testimony, and the Congress, you could tell, for the most part, were not too happy. Still the vaping, yes. We're not too happy with his responses because they've been slow with getting this FDA flavor ban out. And so Hahn might have a chance of actually becoming nominated by Trump to be the next FDA commissioner. So this stuff is up in the air. No one talks about that. They don't even have no clue what's going on the Jacob Clair channel or on YouTube because of the Jacob Clair channel, because I don't talk about certain issues on the Jacob Clair channel. This channel, you get the real deal, and I will tell you every little bit of everything you want to know, or you ought to know, I should say. So that's that on that particular front. But anyway, the FDA flavor ban, which is really a restriction, will be coming out sometime mid to latter part of October 2019. And why I say restriction is because you can still submit your PMTAs on whatever e-liquid, so you can get the FDA to grant an FDA marketing order to keep your product on the market. If it was a prohibition or it was a ban, then you could not sell anything, and you would have, not only that, you wouldn't have any process, legal process to go through in order to have something approved of. It's like the 1920s prohibition. It wasn't like you went to the Department of Treasury and say, I have this beer that I would like to be, having a marketing order on it. They didn't have that. That was a prohibition. This is different. But ban sounds a lot better than if you say restriction. Just like 95% sounds better than having to say unlikely to exceed 5%. Anyway, let me take a little vape of my Cleto. And then, of course, the May 11th, 2020, if you don't get your PMTAs submitted to the FDA, all the products or whatever products that have not submitted those PMTAs will be off the market. And that's due strictly to a judge's order, Judge Grimm's order. The flavor ban has been floating around since spring of 2018 when we had the advance notice post rulemaking. Remember Dr. Forcelinos and all that? So this is the outcome of that. Regardless of the vaping related deaths or the illnesses, we would have had a flavor ban regardless if all those things happened in recent weeks or not. It just pushed the FDA a bit more to do so. Now, you might say some kind of propaganda, some kind of, conspiracy, some kind of like a coordinated effort to put the entire vaping industry under. If there is one, you will never find out what it is until like 20, 30, 40 years later, when somebody declassifies or looks deep enough somehow or another and finds that it was some kind of CIA op. Maybe it was a CIA. Anything is possible, but is it probable? Probably not, but there is a possibility that it could have been a CIA op for all we know. All these deaths and illnesses and all this other crap. What I'm going to presume that it is, which it is when Judge Grimm issued his order, the health groups and those, or I should say, or those that are against vaping, kicked into place in an overdrive. And they've been reporting these illnesses for years. And it wasn't like the status quo to report illnesses, vaping related, be it THC or non-THC. It was not the status quo to do so. So when that Judge Grimm's order came out, and then the public health groups ramped it up a zillionfold, then anything, that awareness, that is, then anything that was reported in an emergency unit at a hospital or doctor's visits or whatever, they were like on standby in a way with that awareness, and therefore these reports started to pump out. These reports have been around for years, sporadically, and they've been being reported, a lot of them, since the winter of 2018, then especially since the spring of 2019. This is nothing new. So if you take all of that into consideration, the possibility, or let's say the probability of it being some kind of coordinated operation, falls to the wayside. But it's possible. Would not say it's not. And so that's what's going on. But you have a lot of agendas out there, a lot of crap out there, pro-vaping and anti-vaping. But you have to understand who holds the power. And the individuals that hold the power are the FDA, United States Health and Human Services Department, the Center for Tobacco Products, Judge Grimm's order, and all these other orders that are coming out of these state courts or federal courts in regards to state bans. They are actually bans. Because, in other words, you don't have, like, pick on New York, A New York manufacturer of e-liquid doesn't have a recourse to submit their particular e-liquid to a New York, I don't know, or let's say this, to the New York Public Health Department to get their e-liquids approved of. You understand? That is an actual ban. That is an actual prohibition, absolutely. Now, on the federal level, it's different. They still have that recourse of getting your PMTAs approved of by the FDA/Center for Tobacco Products. That's the difference. To say you have a state ban or prohibition, yes, you definitely do have that on flavored e-liquids, but not on the federal government. You shouldn't mix the two up. Anyway, so I'm going to share the first thing. Let me, this is kind of weird how to do this. Let's see here, wait a minute. So let me see how, I know there's a way to do this, I have to figure it out. Oh. I'll figure it out. Okay, let me see. There you go. There you go. It's kind of strange, this little thing I have to sort of that's weird. I have to learn how to do all that. But anyway, it does it a lot better. It's a lot easier. XSplit is so much easier than OBS. So anyway, let me see. So I go this way and then it does it. Okay. So I was going to do a separate video of this, but I figured let me put it inside of this live stream. And I've been aware of this for, I don't know, about a week's time, but I didn't never talk about it. So it's very, very in-depth. Very in-depth. I mean, extremely in-depth. But this is the pre-market tobacco product applications and recording, and record-keeping requirements. I know you can't see that, so I'll sort of scroll it over. And this is the proposed rule. And then you'll have the final rule that will come out after November 25th, 2019. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, May 11th, 2020 is right around the corner. Well, you can still submit your vape products after May 11th of 2020. What the May 11th, 2020 is all about are products from February 15th of 2007 all the way up to August 8th of 2016. Now, all those products after August 8th of 2016 can be submitted to the FDA post May 11th of 2020 for a PMTA or an FDA marketing order. But the problem with that is you will be required not to commit any perjury on your application, because you will be required to say when was the manufacturer finished product date of this product. And as we know, all these products have been in the market after August 8, 2018. August 8th of 2016. So it's very difficult to submit these products. Now, after May 11th of 2020, China will still be pumping out all these products, as well as USA manufacturers. Of course, it'll all be black marketed by them. It really is essentially black marketed even now. Because if you listen to Ned Sharpless in that House Committee hearing that I just uploaded on the Jacob Clare channel, he stated that all vaping products are considered illegal. It's against the law to be on the market. But anyway, so let's say you come up with a product, June 5th of 2020. It has a manufacturer finished product date. It's in its sealed packaging on June 5th of 2020. And you decide the wise decision. Instead of putting it right on the market, you decide to go through the entire PMTA process and then submit your PMTAs to the FDA. And as soon as you submit them to the FDA, then they go under review. And then if the FDA grants you an FDA marketing order on that particular product, then yes, you could put it on the market. This, a lot of people get confused that, well, I thought it says like 1 year. If I submit it to the FDA, I could leave my product on the market for 1 year. No, that's not how it works. That 1 year to leave your product on the market once you submit your PMTAs to the FDA is only for products from February 15th, 2007 to August 8th of 2016. A lot of people confused on a lot of these laws. They go, ooh. So anyway, so let's do this. So the comment period ends on November 25th, 2019. And this is the Food and Drug Administration is issuing a proposed rule that would set forth requirements for PMTAs and would require manufacturers to maintain records establishing that their tobacco products are legally marketed. Now, I'll just sort of scroll this down. It's a very, very long document. It's about 400 pages long. So we'll just scroll down it. I mean, if I see something I need to speak to, then I will. They're so busy with all the lawsuits and everything. Here, submit your PMTAs to the FDA, or at least get them together. Start to do your PMTAs. And this is all your table of contents, which takes time for them to do this. This is the reason why it's taken them time to do this flavor ban / restriction. It's taken them time to write all this up. It just doesn't like pop up out of the blue. No. It takes some time to put all this material together. I mean, I don't know if I want to go through this whole thing. I just want to show you how extensive it is, okay? I mean, this is how extensive it is. Look at how long this is. I'm going to try to go down quickly because I'll be this live show will go for about 9 hours. I'll just go quickly. It pretty much contains everything all the other pre-market tobacco application draft guidances have contained since 2009. But it's more focused on vaping products and hookah or e-water pipes, as well as premium cigars. It's more focused for that specifically. But it goes on forever. It goes on forever. This is a massive thing that they had to put together. This is the reason why it takes some time to do all this stuff. People think the FDA, why are they waiting? Well, they have to put all this together. You got Matt from Suck My Mod and Grim Green, all these characters. It takes time to put this together. I would love to see Grim Green put this together. Yeah. And this is, Mitch Zeller, director of Center for Tobacco Products, along with all of his colleagues that work there at the Center for Tobacco Products, that put all this together. They have to put all this together. These are legal documents. This is a proposed rule that's going to turn into a final rule. I mean, it goes on forever. It's just insane how long it is. Look at this. It's just, I don't even, it's just incredibly how long that is. You go to the FDA website and find this material. It just goes on forever. And then they got all their references. Just crazy stuff. And then you wonder why it takes them so long to do things. Well, they put all this crap together, And then they got references. Look at this. It's about 120 pages of references. Look at this. And then they got all this stuff here. More references. Definitions. Goes on forever. I thought I'd go through it, but it'd take me like 10 years to do it. But this is for vaping products, for e-water pipes, for hookah products, for premium cigars. So here you are. They have it. No one speaks to it, but, well, it's because they're a bunch of dullards. Anyway, let's go to the next thing here. I don't want this live show to go too long. It says another teen. A teen sues Juul despite suffering lung damage due to THC. The thing is still in the device. That's the thing. It's still in the device. The devices are still being used. The vaping devices, the hardware is still being used to put this THC in. So he might be partially, not damaged, but it might be reimbursed, so to speak. Not reimbursed, but what's the word I'm looking for? Compensated. He might be partially compensated for this particular lawsuit. We should have acted sooner to avoid vaping crisis. This is interesting here. Let's see what's going on here with this guy. It's October 2nd, 2019. This is that House committee thing that I was that I put up on the Jacob Clare channel. It says Sharpless said that he believes that the agency will catch up. We should have begun regulating these devices sooner, but we're going to catch up. I waited and waited for Sharpless to say Gottlieb, the name Gottlieb, former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb. It was Scott Gottlieb. He's the only one to be blamed for the mess as far as regulating the vaping industry. He's the one to be blamed. But it's funny, Sharpless protected his rear end by not saying his name. Everyone thought it. Sharpless, I know for a fact, Sharpless thought it. All the congressional leaders, they all thought it. They all thought Gottlieb came to their minds, guaranteed at least once during that hearing. But they never said his name. They just said FDA, Food and Drug Administration. Because in a sense, I could see Gottlieb, he's a representative of the FDA. But still, it was really Gottlieb that screwed everything up for the FDA. And like it says, this policy would prioritize FDA's enforcement of pre-market authorization requirements for non-tobacco flavors. So fruits, mint, menthol, they go first. They're the first things to be enforced upon. Not just by the federal government, by the states as well as the counties. They will close them down quickly. And any vape shops that sell mint, menthol, or fruits will be automatically closed down. then you have desserts and many other concoctions that will, of flavors that come thereafter. But because of the 2019 National Youth Tobacco Survey, it's mint and menthol and fruits that are higher on the priority list because of the youth appeal. FDA intends, let's make this just a little bigger for you. FDA intends to enforce existing law that limits the marketing of such products. This policy would not mean that flavored e-cigarettes could never be marketed, meaning that you have to go through the PMTA process. If a company can show through an application, meaning the PMTA, to FDA, that a specific product meets the standards set forth by Congress, that's in the Family Smoking Prevention Tobacco Control Act of 2009, then the FDA would authorize that ENDS product for sale, electronic nicotine delivery system. Then we all know about Trump's situation. And, of course, they help people switch, but, then, of course, there was a petition that didn't go over very well at all with Trump. So that's what you have. They're going to have this flavor ban. They're just going to have it. Here's Dr. Forcellino's over here. If you see him. Dr. Forcellino's talking about e-cigarettes as the Asia Harm Reduction Forum. So Israel bans flavored vaping products and considers total e-cig ban. That's pretty much it. Good old 95% crap. Let's see what we have over here. This is Michael Siegel. Off is the rest of the story. This is October 3rd, 2019. New Mayo Clinic study further implicates contaminated THC oils in respiratory disease outbreaks and refutes claim that store-bought nicotine e-liquids are involved. The overwhelming majority of patients admitted to vaping THC oils. Yeah, it's true. Most of them had the THC oils in there. That's why Washington State, the governor, is cracking down on THC and cannabis, and that's illegal in that particular state. There are a minority amount of people that have had illnesses strictly due to nicotine/e-liquid and non-THC. There has been one person that died due strictly to, and I put that what's in the news. It wasn't in what's in the. It was in a comment to Tony Glock. You have to read that in the comment section. I put the link there. That shows that one person did die. I think it was in Texas. I think somewhere in there. That died strictly because he vaped all his life. And they're saying that the VG itself has oils in them. And it was deposited, these deposits in his lungs that eventually killed him. So, majority, like it says right here, 13 out of 17 patients. So, that's pretty much where it's at. So, like I said, approximately 76% is mainly due to cannabis/THC oil, acetate, or vitamin E, or whatever you want to call it. And the rest, the 24%, is due strictly to e-liquids/nicotine. So to prompt it up as like, well, you can't just, vape this and then die or get illnesses is BS. But, that's part of the vaping industry's or their status quo that they have to push forward that message. So, but Michael Siegel will always try to find ways to downplay anything that is against vaping. So that is his agenda. That is his deal. He reminds me of Vape Passion on YouTube or many other channels that like, no way, nothing's wrong with vaping. But you have to understand a lot of the hardware, in fact, all of the hardware that's being used do not have FDA marketing orders on them. Like this thing here I always use as an example. Like this thing here, they put the THC oil in. Now, if you didn't have these products on the market that have manufactured finished product date products, I always say that wrong. Manufactured finished product dates after August 8th of 2016, you wouldn't have the products to vape that THC in. So that has a lot to do with it. And that's unfortunately left out of this entire discourse. It's that these products, the hardware itself, is also the culprit in the situation. A lot of people don't speak to that. Say, always THC, always THC. Well, you need the hardware to vape that THC. And this hardware not supposed to be on the market. Like Sharpless says, it's all illegal. So it's like one and the same. THC, as far as I'm concerned, THC and the hardware is one and the same. In order to vape that THC, you must have the hardware. And the hardware is not supposed to be on the market. So that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way the FDA looks at it, as well as CDC. All right. And then see here. Anything up to date with them? No, they never really put up anything up to date, the Public Health Law Center. States and tribes stepping in to protect youth from the dangers of e-cigarettes. People don't know that tribal land, even though they're reservations, sovereign territories, they have United States governmental compacts, and they even on state level as well, they have certain treaties in place. And believe it or not, the FDA found a rule in regards to vaping, May 10th, 2016, as well as the Family Smoking Prevention Tobacco Control Act of 2009, also regulates the Indian reservations. Okay? So it goes through all these actions that they're doing here. Washington State. See, they're also lumping in the cannabis aspect of it as well. And then you got, let me make this a little bit bigger. I'm going off the page. And see, you have this particular tribe here. I can't pronounce that, but Tribe Action. To ban all electronic smoking devices on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Because they have the power to do that. And they passed an ordinance doing so. And then, of course, you've got the federal government. and they're going to ban menthol as well. And then you got options for other states. So that's pretty cool. Let me I'm gonna bookmark this onto the toolbar. So I'm interested in this executive order. I'm gonna look at that later, as well as the executive order there. See, and then you got Tobacco Reporter. These are the places that I come to get the news and to understand what's going on. But I don't just go to one place. Like Vaping Minuteman will only go to Vaping 360. He hardly ever goes anywhere else. I have like 10 places that I will go to. And then if need be, I will cross-reference even those 10 places. For plans, nothing on this old tobacco company. Oh yeah, so the Juul, by the way, I was going to do a what's in the news on the Jacob Clare channel on this, but I decided, heck with it. They actually withdrew the ballot measure in regards to the San Francisco flavor ban. So what that means is it's still going to remain on the ballot, but it's not being pushed with all that money that Juul has. They withdrew themselves from that particular. Here, let me show you here. See, Juul Labs will end its support for ballot measure. Okay, but this here, the company announced it will cease active support of Prop C in San Francisco, but the Prop C will still be on the ballot because it's, well, I read somewhere, no, it's still on the ballot though. I would have to find that for you, but it's actually still on the ballot. It's just not being pushed by Juul, and Juul had a lot to do with it because they had so much money behind it. So, for one thing, they can't do any more advertisements on any sort. They're really refraining from doing that. If you really, the stuff I've been reading about Juul lately, they're focused on their PMTA, and that's the only thing they're focused on, and probably even that won't even get an FDA marketing order on it, but they have nothing to lose. But I read somewhere, I said this once before in a Jacob Clare video, that they are spending upwards of $125 million for their PMTAs to be submitted to the FDA. Juul is. And this is at New York, where it was upheld by the judge. But I showed this on the Jacob Clare channel. A court has denied a request by the vaping industry to delay New York's emergency ban. And that's what's going to happen to all these states as time goes by. So Washington bans. This is Washington State. Has ordered state officials to impose an emergency ban on flavored vapor products. That's where Indoor Smokers lives at. If adopted, though. Okay, if adopted during the Health Board's October 9th meeting, Washington State's ban would go into effect the next day, last 120 days, and could be renewed. So, even though the governor ordered the health board to have a flavor ban in Washington State, they'll still have to go through this process. Some states have this, some states do not. Go through this process, and then they will have the ban. Probably they're going to have a ban. No outright ban. Well, that's a definite. Not like I said, not a prohibition. You can still do your PMTAs. Plus, they're prioritizing everything. It says the FDA plans to make this a little bigger. I didn't read that very well. Anyway, FDA plans to enforce existing law rather than ban flavored cigarettes outright. Earlier this month, intends to clear the market of flavored e-cigarettes. Some interpreted that to mean that the FDA would ban the flavors outright, but Sharpless made clear during the hearing that isn't the case because he's going to prioritize everything, plus the PMTA. Manufacturers have until May 2020 to apply to the FDA for marketing applications. If companies don't have an approved application by then, they will be required to pull their products from the market. Now, see, they got that wrong. So, partially wrong. They're required to submit their PMTAs to the FDA by May 11th, 2020. Those that do submit them to the FDA have up to a year to keep those particular products on the market. It's not like they make it sound like they need to be automatically approved of. Anyway, anyone who thought their product was good for public health could file an application at any time. If the product can demonstrate a public health use, then it would be authorized for sale. That's pretty much it. But, so, it appears in this article that they're not going to have a flavor ban. Yes, they are going to have a flavor ban. They're going to prioritize it. Menthol, mint, and fruit go first. But in order to keep that menthol, mint, and fruit on the market, you can do so through the PMTA process. And of course, I think we're all aware of the new Juul leadership. And that guy here, this guy here, was he was a former, I think it was he worked for Philip Morris at one time. I believe, what was he? I can't remember the title he was. Anyway. Okay, so the new guy oversaw the company's expansion into smoking alternatives and played a key role in the commercial and regulatory efforts related to the U.S. launch of Altria's heat-not-burn device, IQOS. So he has knowledge. Oh, that's the mailman. He has knowledge and experience with going through the whole entire regulatory process to get something approved of by the FDA. So that's one of the main reasons why he was picked. As far as a lot of people might think, well, that gives Altria leverage in the Juul company. Not really, because if you, and I've gone through this many a time, if you look at the standstill agreement with the Securities Exchange Commission, they can't own more than 1/3 of that company in investments. And they can never go more than 1/3 or 33%. I don't know what's the word for it. Control, I guess you can say, of the board of directors. So that still doesn't. Just because they put this guy in place that had worked for Altria at one time in regards to their IQOS. It doesn't mean that that standstill agreement is null and void. In fact, it's still in place. It would have to be renegotiated. So far, it has not been. And that's good for 4 to 6 years. But this guy here, this Crowthwaite, or however you say his name, KC, he has experience and knowledge of how to go through that regulatory process as far as PMTAs, and that's the main reason why they put him in place. As far as their jewel products, so come here. Every day it's a law firm, the FDA Law Blog, Hyman Phelps and McNamara. Nothing really showed up on their screen except for August 27, 2019. This is something I'm going to see here. I haven't visited the site for a while. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff is very legal talk, so you might not like it very much, but I just read this case here. It was a rather interesting case. I just read that, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And what they're basically saying is that, like, this all plays into the Chevron doctrine. You know, I've talked about this before on the Jacob Clare channel. And they were saying in this particular, it's very in depth. I don't want to go into it, but this is another case that plays into the Chevron doctrine, and this is a new case that's just come up on the radar this year, 2019, and they're talking about when the Chevron doctrine, I can't pronounce that, deference should be applied and when it should not. And they're slowly eroding that Chevron doctrine to a degree. But in this particular case, the FDA did win. They won anyway. In this Kaiser case, they won anyway. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't get into all that. And this guy here, this Vaping 360, they have a National Save Vaping Day for October 7th. It's supposed to save us. Okay. That's a fantasy. But, you know, try to, I don't know. I don't know. This is crazy. Crazy people out there. Jim McDonald, the craziest one out of them all, trying to lead the pack, who saved the vaping industry from a flavor ban from the FDA. That's that. Nothing's really come out of the FDA lately, except for this. They haven't even put that updated version of this particular thing here. September 25th, 2019. They haven't even updated their page. Normally they do, but they didn't. Well, and then I sometimes go here because even though this is halfwheel.com and it mainly has to do with premium cigars, they always have court cases that they deal with, and sometimes that can bleed over to vaping as well. In other words, it can be related. It sometimes affects 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 vaping as well. So sometimes it's good to go here, see what's going on. See here, Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors ban flavored tobacco sales. I just said that a moment ago, and it affects, like it says, e-cigarettes and menthol cigarettes. Menthol cigarettes, yes, they can ban that if they want. They can't do tobacco, but they could do that. Let's look at this real quick. So the ban will begin on October 31st in LA County, not in California, but in LA County, which is a huge county, by the way. Like I said, that's a population of over 10 million people. It's one of the largest counties in California. So they talk about that stuff. And then here, this is off of vapes.com. So he appears on C-SPAN about the THC. Well, of course he's going to try to play it down. That's his voice. He's got to do it. That's what he's getting paid for by donations to his American Vaping Association. I think we've pretty much done all these already. Uh-oh. What was that? Uh-oh. Sorry. I don't know if you could see me or not. What happened there? Something. See if I can get back to what I was doing. Uh-oh. Sorry about that, guys. I sort of died there. Sort of overwhelmed the PC is what happened there. I don't seem to be able to get back into this. Well, I might have to end this video here. It's not letting me... No, that's not doing nothing. Sort of died on me. Alright, let me see if I can add source. Well, I'm going to have to end this, guys. I'm sorry about that. Sort of died on me. It overwhelmed the system and shot me down. Anyway, you get the gist of everything. I can't even get it to... It's sort of stuck. It's sort of stuck. It's just stuck. Anyway, I'm going to end this feed. It's still live, but I'm sort of stuck in this thing here. Anyway, you get the gist of it. Anyway, I'm going to end this live show. I'll be back again with a live show. I think you get the gist of everything that's going on. It's just sort of died here all of a sudden. I don't think I can get back into that. Isn't that crazy? Let's see if I can... Just 1 second, I didn't give up yet. Huh! It's doing something weird. Anyway, I'm gonna let it go. It's getting crazy now. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Bye-bye.